Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Bobby D, and I'm back again with another hot, juicy video. And as always, joined by the hair Moses himself, Steve Michaels Cook.
Bobby.
My channel, Steve.
Pleasure.
And y'all know when Steve's here, we're always talking about hair. And Steve, on my channel, it might have been years ago now since I started, but I've made several videos talking about Finasteride. So you take that and Dutasteride. And I had a story this past weekend actually at a friend's birthday. It was his 30th birthday, and he was taking Finasteride, I think for a couple of years possibly, and then his hair was starting to fall out again, and so he started taking Dutasteride, and now it's coming back for him, or he's not losing hair anymore. So I guess my question, Steve, is what should you take, and how do you know it's time to possibly switch it up from Finasteride to Dutasteride?
Great question, Bobby. Thanks for having me.
Sorry, that was a lot of words jumping.
No worries. No worries. Thanks for having me back.
Always.
Okay. So what we want to do is think about what's going to work the majority of the time. As you know from watching Bobby's videos or his channel here and me on these videos, is I'm a numbers person. I'm a clinical research guy, meaning we're going to use data. The data says that with using Finasteride at 1 milligram in men ages 18 to 65, we're going to have about a 98% chance of no more hair loss. Those are good numbers for me. It also has extremely low profile for side effects. We don't have barely any chance of side effects, if any. And those that can possibly happen if they're not placebo will just go away if you go off the medication. So it's very safe, it's very affordable, it's easy to use, and it's extremely effective. Let me just stop that for a second and talk about Dutasteride. This industry, you out there watching, me out there watching Bobby or anybody else on any channel talking about hair, we're always interested in what is the next thing. We're always interested in, give me something new. We're always interested in, Steve, come on, man. Dude, you've been doing this a long time. Like, what's new out there? There's nothing new. Yeah. And everybody wants to jump right on something that's new and exciting and it's going to produce better results. Nobody's satisfied with things after a while. We're a very short-term satisfaction country. So the Dutasteride thing has been used from time to time for subsets. Patients that maybe their bodies just react differently to the Dutasteride versus the Finasteride from a side effect standpoint. Even though Dutasteride, you have a higher chance of side effects, which is one of the top reasons why we start with Finasteride. Yeah. Also, maybe you've been on Finasteride for 20 years and for some reason you think your hair is not as strong as it used to be. Never mind the fact you're 20 years older, but you want to try Dutasteride because maybe that can deliver a little bit more punch. So what I would tell you, Bobby, and tell everybody watching your great videos is that we always want to start with Finasteride because it is the go-to medication that is going to work 98% of the time.
Agree.
Now, here's the catch. A lot of you out there, you didn't expect me to say this, you've got to do a better job of documenting with photos. You can't just call up your doctor and say, you know what, I've been on this Finasteride for 3 years and I feel like I'm getting a little thin in the crown again. I want to get on Dutasteride. I mean, why? Like, why would some doctor prescribe that if he feels that maybe that'll hurt you or maybe doesn't want to or whatever the case may be? I'm kind of making that up. But if you have documented photos, you now have a case. So it's important to document your photos every 6 months. And it is going to be, you're going to see for yourself that you don't need Dutasteride. There's nothing you need. If someone says, well, I don't feel like I was getting the same benefit from Finasteride after a couple of years, it's probably because they had a bad hair day. So So I would tell you to make sure that you're being very compliant before you jump on another medication. But at the same time, not to talk out of both sides of my mouth, Dutasteride is a little bit stronger. It blocks a little bit more of the 5-alpha-reductates, the enzymes that can cause hair loss. But normally that's not necessary. So it's almost like saying, so I'm drinking a little rum here. I'm feeling pretty good, but it's really not doing it for me. Let me take that 151 over there, right? Yeah. That'll do it. It doesn't really work the same way. So what we want to do is we want to take baby steps. We want to use numbers. We want to take the data. We want to start with the Finasteride. And then if there's any issues, and there sometimes are in a small percentage, that you don't like how it makes you feel, or we can try Dutasteride. If you've been like me on it 19 years and maybe you don't feel it's as effective, let's try Dutasteride, but document it with photos. Make sense?
Makes sense to me, Steve.
I hope that helps.
That's why you're the legend, man. Appreciate it, Steve, for joining me. And as always, check out Steve's channel, Defeating Hair Loss, where I'm on there all the time. Great videos, so check that out. And also, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.